I greet you all and welcome you back to the lesson. The subject is Advanced Public Finance Management. Today, we're going to study the public financial management cycle. Public financial management cycle. Now, the cycle here describes 4 stages in the annual budget cycle, which centers around the budget formulation, budget execution, accounting and reporting, and external scrutiny. The cycle, let me demonstrate it. Let me have it like that. Let me try and be creative here. Come up with a cycle. I've said that the term budget, the term financial management commonly describes the elements of the annual budget cycle, which typically centers around 1 is the budget formulation. Budget formulation. In the case of the budget process at the national level, we say that the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury is the one who manages the process of formulating the budget at that level. Okay? Then there is budget implementation. Budget implementation. Number 3 is what we call accounting and reporting. Accounting and reporting. Then there is lastly the oversight. External oversight, external security or external audit. External audit. So this is the budget. Budget, the cycle. Public finance management cycle. Now, candidates, the budget is prepared with due regard to government fiscal policies, strategic plans, and adequate macroeconomic and fiscal projections. Budget implementation is executed within a system of effective standards, processes, and internal controls, ensuring that resources are obtained and used as intended. The accounting and reporting is the accurate and the reliable records that are maintained, and information candidates is produced and disseminated at appropriate times to meet decision making, to meet management and also reporting needs. External audit is the independent reviewing or the external follow-up on whether the executive has implemented the recommendations for improvement. Public finances candidates are independently reviewed. In Kenya, we have the Office of the Auditor General, who is the external auditor for all public entities, both at national level and at the county level. So public finances are independently reviewed, and there is also external follow-up on whether the executive has implemented the recommendations for improvement. So this is the cycle. This is the cycle. Public financial management cycle. Public financial management cycle. And I've said candidates begins with budget formulation. The budget cycle begins with budget formulation. It begins with the budget process in which the government, with legislative oversight, plans for the use of the coming year's resources in accordance with policy priorities. Then once the budget has been approved and the new fiscal year begins, then spending agencies and the National Treasury embark on its implementation. They use the resources allocated to them on salaries for public servants, running the costs for their offices, payment of rent, electricity, procurement of goods and services delivered to schools, medicine in hospitals, and so on. Implementation, execution. Okay? Now, the National Treasury manages the compliance, manages the flow of funds, and also monitors and makes in what we call in-year adjustments to ensure compliance with the budget and the provisions of the Public Finance Management Act. Implementation. Earlier on in public finance lessons, I took you through the budget process at the national level and at the county level. It's a process. You can refer to your notes. There is also provisions on the Public Management Act on the implementation, how the budget has to be implemented, how funds are to be withdrawn from the consolidated fund, what are the requirements, who should approve, and so on. Then there is the accounting and reporting. Throughout the fiscal year, each spending agency records its expenditures. And that's what we are referring to as accounting, recording expenditures. Then these accounts are consolidated centrally by the National Treasury, so that at the end of the fiscal year, the National Treasury issues a report that demonstrates how the budget was implemented. That is accounting and reporting. Then the report that is generated by the National Treasury, this report is then subjected to external scrutiny, external audit, external scrutiny. We may have what we call the Supreme Auditing Institution, which is an independent government body that reviews the government's revenue collection and spending and issues its own statement on the execution of budget and the strength of the PFM systems. In countries like Kenya, we have the Office of the Auditor General, who now goes through all the reports that have been made or developed by different spending agencies or entities. And in other jurisdictions or countries, the audit report that the Auditor General generates after auditing, or the report that is developed by the Supreme Auditing Institution, may be presented to legislature or to parliament for further scrutiny and follow-up. So that is the public financial management cycle. is a cycle that revolves around the budget process, the budget formulation, budget implementation or execution, accounting and reporting, and then external scrutiny or oversight. So that will mark the end of the lesson. Thank you for attending. I'll meet you in our next lesson where we continue to study public finance management. Thank you. Bye.